Hi there guys, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero Show with me, your host, Simon Conboy. Moving on to a new series this week. I'm going to carry this one on pretty much leading up to the draft with a few other extra episodes thrown in here and there. But we're going to be doing a draft preview for every NFL franchise. So I'm going to start with the NFC North this week. This episode will be focusing on the Chicago Bears, who of course have the third overall pick. So I'm going to be discussing what their needs were going into free agency, how they've addressed some of them, and what needs remain and still need to be addressed in the draft, as well as some of the picks that I think they will be looking to make over the course of that time. So the Bears, going into free agency, I had the needs listed as quarterback, offensive tackle and defensive back. Quarterback, they've looked to address by adding Mike Glennon to the roster, the former Buccaneers backup quarterback. He signed a 3-year, $45 million deal. I'm not sure if he's necessarily the answer. He was on some very bad teams in Tampa, but really struggled to move the ball with any consistency. The stats are a little bit misleading. Under him, this was an incredibly inefficient offense, and most of those stats were put up in garbage time. So I'm not sure. The issue I think with them potentially looking for a quarterback in the draft is I'm not sure there's much sort of room for error for this front office. I think they'll be looking for impact players that can try and turn things around, or at least show signs of a turnaround over the next 2 seasons, because otherwise I think they'll be looking for a new coaching staff potentially as early as next year, especially if they repeat with a similar record to this year's 3-13 disaster. So they're going to be rolling with Glennon. Can't see them going with a quarterback in the first 3 rounds. So I've removed that as a need, even though it is still somewhat of a need. The other positions I had were offensive tackle. Now, they didn't dip into that market, and I don't expect that they'll go with one particularly early in this draft, possibly with round 2. They need to improve the pass protection for whoever's going to be playing behind centre for the next couple of years. I mean, it's going to be Glennon this year, of course. Didn't address it in free agency. I won't criticise them too much for it. I've been very critical of that offensive tackle market that was available and the contracts that were handed out to those guys. So for not dipping their toes in there, that's perfectly reasonable. It remains a need, and I've got it listed as one of the main needs heading into this draft. The other position I had listed as a need was defensive back. They signed Prince Amukamara, which is a very good deal. I think 1 year, $7 million. If he can stay healthy, he'll be an effective player for them. If Fuller can stay healthy, then they should be okay at corner. I think safety is still a need and is one of the needs I've got listed. The third need, so offensive tackle, safety, and I've got wide receiver. Kevin White hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he hasn't been particularly productive in his limited time on the field. Cameron Meredith has shown some things, but I think they definitely need to bring in another weapon if this offense is going to be effective. That could even be a tight end. I just think there's got to be another weapon in that passing game at the minute. I don't think teams are going to be particularly worried about the Bears' passing attack. So need to try and find somebody who can contribute to that group. In round 1, in my mock, I've got them taking Jonathan Allen. Now, whilst I don't think defensive line is a huge need, I think this is a team that just needs to add talent. And in the scenario, I've got Myles Garrett's off the board, and Jonathan Allen is the highest ranked player that's not Leonard Fournette on my board. They're not going to take Leonard Fournette. Jordan Howard had a very, very good season for them last year. They do look like they're set at running back. I have heard Allen may have some shoulder issues and could potentially slide, but I'm not sure he will, unless that injury is very, very significant. I think he is a great talent. Would give them a versatile player. They can move around that line. Him and Eddie Goldman would give them a really good young pair on the defensive line that could be together for several years. Leonard Floyd had a promising rookie season. I think in this situation it's about building on one of the few sort of strength areas this team has. and I just don't think they can take a higher impact player at that spot. Other considerations would be one of the top rated safeties. I think Hooker would be a bit of a push at this stage with only 1 year starting experience in the injury. Teams haven't been able to see him work out at all this off-season. I think that would be a major push to take him at 3, especially with Jamal Adams being similarly ranked, I think, by a lot of people. You've got a bit more experience there, and I think there's a more consistency in his game. He's a far better tackler. By all accounts, a great kid, good leader. So I think he'll be heavily considered. Now, the number 3 spot is very high for a safety to be selected, which is one of the reasons I think they go with Allen. But wouldn't be surprised at all if they went with Jamal Adams here. I think he'd be a very good addition, and there is a big need at that spot, and there has been for a long time. Who knows how long it is I've been saying that the Bears have needed safety help. So I can't see it being anyone outside of Allen or Jamal Adams at this point in time. Perhaps if one of the other pass rush type players like Taco Charlton's not going to go at 3, actually. The kid from Stanford possibly, but after selecting Leonard Floyd and him, showing some progress last year, I don't think it's a big need. I'd be surprised if they went in that direction. In round 2, I think they've got a lot more options. This is why I think they'll target the specific needs a bit more. I think Evan Ingram, the tight end, is a possibility at the start of round 2. Buda Baker is a possibility. The safety, I think he's a good player. Marcus Williams, certainly another possibility. We've also got some wide receiver options. Juju Smith-Schuster is a guy, I'm not sure where he's going to go. They could even pick him in round 3. I've seen him projected all across teams, all across like mock drafts, so I'm not sure, but he'll be someone that's available to him in round 3. Maybe Cooper Kupp. Receiver could be an option. I think these are some of the guys I'll be looking at, possibly Zay Jones, another wide receiver. All of these are selections that would make a lot of sense to me if they are available. So we'll see what the Bears do, but they do need to address those spots. Offensive tackle's a tough one. Possibly Garrett Bowles in round 2 if he's available. That would make a degree of sense. They've got to improve that offense. Defensively, I think it's not a terrible unit. I just think a safety would really improve the overall quality there. So that's sort of what I'm expecting them to do. Possibly getting some young linebackers might not be a bad idea as well. But definitely a couple of receivers. I can see 2 being taken over the course of this draft. They absolutely desperately need to get some more guys. Otherwise, I think again it's going to be a long slog for Bears fans watching this passing offense next season. So what do you guys think? Agree, disagree with any of the names I've thrown out there, or the general needs that the Bears have? If you've got any other suggestions, let me know. I've got the comment section below. Find us Cover Zero on Facebook, or find me on Twitter at Simon Conboy. I'll do my absolute best to get back to any and everyone who does get in touch with me. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, like, share, subscribe, check out the Patreon and all that good stuff. It'd be greatly appreciated. And of course, check out some more of the videos. Have the rest of the NFC North up by the end of today and tomorrow. Going to keep working on through these. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you for watching, and go Bucks.